Hello and welcome to my Fire Pro Wrestling Headcraft tutorial. Within the Fire Pro community, you can find me under the name El Waster on both Steam and PS4. Over the last year, I've created and made available roughly around 60 custom headcrafts from WWE, AEW and independent stars. After several requests, I've decided to expand on my original written tutorial for headcraft with this video tutorial. There are different tastes out there in how people prefer their custom Fire Pro parts, whether it be photorealism, styles similar to the Fire Pro New Japan heads, or anything in between. This tutorial will focus on producing custom headcrafts in my style, which is similar to the New Japan Pro Wrestling in-game heads. Let's start with the tools you'll need. This tutorial will take place in Photoshop, although there are free alternatives available such as GIMP or Photopea. Those links will be in the description below. For capturing reference points, there are two methods that produce the best results, either WWE 2K19 or WWE 2K20. Not so much for the gameplay, but the game's excellent edit suite allows for you to manipulate the angle a face is viewed from and produce the most accurate textures to apply. A second method you can use is a free demo of FaceGen Modeler. Linked for the download is in the description. Finally, you will need the Headcraft PSD created by community member and Movecraft master himself, Miguel F. You can find him on Twitter alongside his work under the handle FireProScreens1. Let's take a closer look at the Master Headcraft PSD. Every head is color coded, where the background color matches. This means that the head is at the same angle, with only a minor difference, whether it be a mouth open or closed. You can toggle the visibility of the color layer at the very bottom with the eye icon. Looking further in the layer window, you'll find that it contains all of the New Japan Pro Wrestling male and female head sprites, covering all four base colors. This makes it super easy when switching between heads to find the right base that's going to suit your needs. For this tutorial, we'll be creating a Samoa Joe headcraft. In this video, I'll be using 2K20 to grab the angles that I need. This is done by going to Superstar Edit and Menu Screen Pose and set individually. Here you'll find all the different head angles required. Starting with forward facing, we're going to head to the Facial Expressions editor. With some wrestlers' models, you might want to change their expression to one that gives them more character, as it makes a massive difference when converting this to the sprite sheet. To avoid your final product looking generic, try looking for an expression that represents best the person whom you're making the headcraft of. That said, Joe's default face already looks pretty mean, so we'll leave it as is for the sake of this tutorial. Next up, let's prepare for the screenshots we'll be taking. If you're on Windows, open Snip and Sketch or Snipping Tool. After that, create a new blank project in Photoshop. You're going to want the ratio to be about 800 pixels by 1500. Now we're ready to start taking screenshots of all the angles we need. Using the color codes on the sprite sheet as a guide, each block with a star in it represents an angle you need. We're just going to fast forward through this part, as it's pretty straightforward. If you don't have a 2K game on your PC, you can always use the Remote Play app from the PS4 to show the screen on your PC, and the same goes for the Xbox. You'll notice that I've added several options for the B4 and B5 head positions. This is because this tends to be the most tricky angle to capture, so it's better to have more options available than less. Now we have all our heads together and counted for, all we need to do is merge all the layers together, and then in one go, select the background color and delete. Now we have our screenshots taken, we're going to copy the head from position A1 on the base sprite sheet and paste it on the project containing all of our screenshots. We'll call this head Color Match, and we'll find out why soon. Now it's time for the fun part, applying the face texture. We start by using the lasso tool to cut around the face of the desired angle. After that, we Ctrl C to copy. Now head on back over to the sprite template and paste in the face that you've just copied. Make sure your transform tools are showing. If not, Ctrl T will toggle them on and off, and using the corners, scale down the face size to match the original template. A good way to measure if you have the sizing right is to check that the eyes and the mouth are mostly lined up. Another method is to lower the opacity of the layer to check how it sits with the layer below. Next, you're going to want to select the eraser tool and set its size to somewhere between 15 and 20, and its hardness between 20 and 40. Finally, move the eraser opacity round to about the number 30. Instead of erasing with a brushing motion, just tap the eraser around the edges of the face texture. This creates a blending effect between the face texture and the base head. And don't be afraid to tap more than once in the same area, as with each tap it will only remove up to about 30% of the original image. Plus, if you go too far, there's always the undo button. Once satisfied, we need to better match the head skin tone to the base tone. To do this, we select Image, Adjustments, and Match Color. Now this is where the template we copied over earlier comes in handy. In Source, we select the project where we pasted the head we named Color Match. Then in Layer, select that layer. What this does is it applies the color tones from that original head to the texture we've just pasted on top of the base. You can pretty much ignore the luminance and color intensity settings, but feel free to move the fade slider around until you're happy. The difference may seem minimal now, but it all contributes to a better final product. Now that color match is complete, we can see areas of the face that might need a bit more blending. At this point, it's better to lower the size of your brush and work around those specific areas. When erasing the finer details, try to keep features like wrinkles or any other character specific features that might be on the face. Otherwise, you might risk your face looking a bit too generic or too much like the base model. That's basically all there is to it when it comes to the blending. So what I'm going to do now is fast forward through this part where I place the facial textures in the key base angles. Now that's complete, let's do a small amount of housekeeping by merging together all the layers that we've just made. Filling in the remainder of the head is pretty straightforward. If you remember, our original PSD template is color-coded, highlighting heads that are pretty much exactly the same except for small differences like an open or closed mouth. Now, using this as kind of a cheat sheet, we will copy over the heads that we've already textured, paste them on top of the untextured layers, and then grab the eraser tool, pop up the opacity to 100, and then erasing the closed mouth on the texture, showing the open mouth below. The lower head sculpts also tend to have a more angry expression with their eyebrows, so feel free to tap around that area too to bring that through. Fast forwarding the video once again here now, as it's pretty much the same process for every single head that's remaining on the board. Once complete, there's only one last thing left to do, and that is to merge all of your layers together as one, and then head on over once more to Adjustments and Match Color. This time under Sources, select the Custom Head Sprite Guide, and then for Layer, select any layer that has the same base tone as what you're working with. What this will do really is just create a nice even tone throughout all of the heads on the sheet. And that's it, you're done. All that's left to do is to export the sprite sheet as a PNG and then load it into your Fire Pro game via the part uploader. Congratulations, you did it! If you have any questions, you can find me on the Discord linked in the description below or via Twitter @LWaster. Thank you for watching, and if you feel like it, throw a like this way and sub to the channel, as I'm looking to upload more content going forward.